Welcome to the Garden of Favor podcast, where we are committed to cultivating lives and businesses God's way. Because when we do, we see the evidence of His favor. I'm warning you now, be prepared. You might cry a little bit, and you might be tempted to shout a couple yeses and amens as we ask ourselves the tough questions and get honest with God about what He wants to do in us and through us for the kingdom. Hey, sister friend, I'm Heather, teacher turned six-figure corporate exec, turned top 1% network marketer, turned dream job, living my best life as a mindset strategist and kingdom blueprints coach for Christian entrepreneurs. I believe your life is like a garden, and your business plays a major role in fulfilling your purpose and calling. Are you ready to get your mindset and heart set in sync with the Father so you can bloom into all He's created you to be? Then let's grow, girl. Hey, sister friend, welcome back to the Garden of Favor, where we're going to get into a little bit of marketing today. Oh man, I don't know. Do you look at people who crank content out on social and you think, man, it comes so easy to them? Well, I know that I do. And I know that there have been seasons of my life where content has been super fun and relatively easy. I am the type of person that wears my emotions on my sleeves. And so for me to plan out a month's worth of content is, well, a month's maybe not too bad, but a couple months, it's hard. I have to feel like it's authentic in the moment that I'm sharing, hence why I'm actually recording this podcast and you're getting it the same day. I don't always do that, but this morning was chaotic. And so here we are re-recording after I was interrupted by children. So you too can have a podcast with kids, and it's okay if it doesn't go out at 6 a.m. like you would like it to. All that to say, today we're going to talk about social media content and the different types that you can create to really speak to the person who God has called you to serve. That's really what social media should be about. It should be about serving, not about getting a certain number of likes, not about having a popular whatever, whether it's a podcast or, yeah, that might be part of it, because the more people you're serving, the more they're going to want to share. And if you haven't already, please, I do want to ask, and I'm so bad at this. I've gotten really better at the last couple of episodes, but that is the biggest compliment you can give me, is to post on your social stories or your social media, what message you got from the podcast, what you liked, what you want more of. That really helps me create content, as well as sharing it with your friends. So today we're going to dive deep into the different types of content. And if you have taken either one of my network marketing courses, which by the way are available for you, they are DIY programs that I dig deep into your social media content and the different types of content that you can post. I got started in the network marketing space. You all know that by now. And it was all, there are some really bad teachers in the network marketing space. Literally 7 years ago, I was told to post 3 to 5 times a day, although that was the strategy at the time to try to get your content in the newsfeed as much as possible. Now it is way more about quality over quantity. And so my hopes for this episode is to teach you some really quality content that you can start generating so that you can serve the people who God has called you to serve better. And I say this from a place of, I literally went back to my own courses over the last couple of weeks. I'm like, why? I've got to take these myself. Because in 2018, when I did lose my largest business at the time, and I went into this a lot of sadness and a lot of anger and a lot of all the feels, literally every stage of grief that you can go through, I felt like I really struggled with posting on social media. So for the first probably couple months, I posted out of my pain. And what that did was create memories for myself when I look at my memories on Facebook or whatever story it is that I'm looking at, and it just brings up all these yucky emotions. And while maybe the content did get a lot of traction and people resonated with it, the Lord has just really showed me that I am never to post out of my pain in an anger, bitter place, but from a better place. And so as the Lord showed me that I was posting very bitter, and you maybe didn't even notice it, but I know where my heart was behind a lot of the post. I was very trying to vindicate myself and, you know, just all the things. And we won't go into all of that, but all that to say, when the Lord started to show me that, I pulled back from social. And I thought, I do not want to post things that are going to represent me being bitter or perhaps even hurting other people, even if I didn't put names in there. I didn't even, if it was just an idea of something, but I knew in my heart that it was something spiteful. The Lord has worked a lot in my heart. Listen, we are wired to either fight or flight. And in that season of my life, 27 weeks pregnant, was accused of doing something that I didn't do in a network marketing company, and had zero opportunity to explain to them what really happened. They just said, "Nope, this is it, and you're let go." I fought. And I fought from I'll show you, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. And all that to say, when the Lord showed me that I didn't need to vindicate myself, I didn't need to defend myself, that the Lord looks at the heart and he knew my heart. I didn't need to fight. I only needed to be still. And being still isn't necessarily the same thing as inactivity. Just like rest in God's word is not the same as inactivity. But all of that to say, I really looked at Jesus as an example. And you see him when he was being crucified, and they were saying, like, who he is. They were making fun of him, and he was the king of the Jews. And they were saying he was a terrible person, that he was all the things, right? Heresy. And Jesus said nothing. And when the Lord showed me that in the Gospels, when I could see Jesus and how he handled that, just the brutality of that whole thing of the crucifixion, how he handled that. He didn't say anything. He just took it. And I thought, man, what an example. I wish I would have really looked at that before I went wild to try to defend myself and posted from my pain instead of posting from my purpose and posting from my place of my identity in Christ and who he's called me to be, regardless of what anybody else ever says. All that to say, the Lord kept telling me to rest. And I'm like, okay, of course I wanted to get off social because it didn't even feel good to be on there, but I was fighting to get back what the enemy had stolen. I was fighting to get back an income so that I could, pay our bills. And I was fighting to get back my dignity and my all the things. And the Lord kept whispering to me, rest. And I'm like, I finally heard him. And rest used to be a 4-letter word. I did an episode about that. I did not like that word at all. I thought, no, I have to work harder. I have to do more, right? Because we are lied to from the world and the enemy that you have to work harder to get more. And that's not God's word. Yes, he wants us to work with excellence. But all that to say is he kept whispering rest to me. I'm like, okay. So I'd take a day off and I'd be like, oh, that felt so good. Oh, I wish I could do that more. But I can't. Like, my business is online and there's just no way. And then I kept hearing rest. I'm like, but I did. I took a day off. And yes, it felt good, but I just can't. How could I? I have to provide for my family. I have to continue this social media influencer presence. Like, I just can't. And he kept whispering rest. And so I'm like, okay. So I took a weekend off, which then turned into a week off, which I felt like the biggest rebel ever, but it felt so good. If you haven't listened to the JOMO episode around Christmas and going into New Year, I highly encourage you. I think we all need JOMO challenges throughout the year to remind us that we are not building our business in our own might, in our own strength, in our own strategy. We should be building our business in God's might, God's strength, God's strategy. God does not care about the algorithm. He doesn't care about what the latest tool and technique and social media platform or whatever is. He doesn't care about strategy and of the world and formulas and tips and tricks. He doesn't care about that stuff. God can snap his fingers or speak it into existence, and you could be the top of whatever you're doing. And so that always gives me comfort to know that, you know what, social media can be such a mind game. Like, oh, we're trying to be more popular. And even if we're doing it in the name of helping people and or in the name of sharing Jesus, the Lord's going to help it reach the right person's eyes and heart when He wants it to. That gives me a lot of peace. I don't even care about how many likes I have anymore. And yes, there are times where I look at them like, oh, but I used to get this, or I love my life on social now. I don't feel pressured anymore. I don't feel like I have to show up every single day because somebody said consistency is key. You've got to show up every day. I even have that in some of my courses that I've taught in the past or trainings. Like I've said, consistency. And yes, consistency is key, but God's like voice and whatever He's calling you to do trumps all of that. Okay, I'm not even quite into the content of the episode yet. I have setting the stage that you know that, listen, I too struggle with creating content and it being strategic. Hence why I am hiring a marketing strategist to help me, because I have a bazillion things to say. If you've been listening to any of the previous 60 episodes, I have a lot of stuff to say. Haven't even had a guest yet. And I have oodles of pages of content ideas that I like love to do, but I do want there to be some strategy behind it. So I'm going to share with you 8 different types of posts that you can start generating today to reach the people who you were called to serve. Your, what I've referred to in the Bloom Academy as your zone of impact. Who has God created you to serve? And how are you going to whip up all these things that the Lord is and tie them all together and serve the people you're called to serve? So number one is and I say this because I have gone back to this course to reteach myself what are some things I could post about. Sometimes I think we get stuck, especially in sales mode, we can get stuck in teaching mode so that we're teaching all of the things. But in reality, everybody doesn't want to be taught all the time. Think of our kids. They love summer break. So some of you need to give your social media a summer break. All that to say, the first type of post is inspirational. Inspirational. Yes, we want to inspire people. We want to show people that you can make a change. And I think a lot of inspirational posts are going to come from these transformations. So maybe like a subset category of inspirational would be transformational. How have you changed? How have you went from this person who was so, unsure of her calling and her purpose to knowing what it was. How did you do that? That's inspiring. People want to know that. So maybe it's from you've lost all, your baby weight and you want to show moms that they too can still put their health first. And how do you do that? Transformation. So transformation / inspirational can come in a lot of different ways, but typically inspiration is going to come from stories. And most of these posts are stories because facts tell and stories are what sell people. But if you're like me, and you've had a story that's kind of yucky and you want to forget about it and you don't want to really talk about it and you certainly don't want people to think you're bitter, my heart's desire, and I ask God all the time, please help the words that come out of my mouth to be better, that shows that I'm a better person because of what happened. I am not bitter. And that I am a victor, not because of what happened to me or what I got back, what I was able to shove back in those people's face and say, haha, look what God did for me, but because I'm a victor in Jesus. And it doesn't matter what they said about me. That is, I don't know, I got off on a tangent, but that in and of itself, it's a story. It's a story. And so what are the stories of your life? How can you inspire people? And not just from you, especially if you have a business with clients, right? Tell their stories as inspiration. And I think, again, sometimes we can get so focused on I, me, my story that we forget that our clients or our team members or whatever, or whoever has used your services or used your products are great people to tell stories about. So it's not just about you inspiring from your own story, but it's about using inspirational content from your clients or your customers or your team members or whatever type of business that you have, okay? So that's the first one, inspirational. And think transformation. That's what inspires people. When people can hear stories and think they went from that to that, that is inspirational. All right, number 2 is informational. Sometimes I think people can get stuck in information mode, but we're going back to that quote, facts tell, stories sell. Think about it. People want to hear stories. So even when you're sharing informational things, tie it to a story. Tie it to how this information has impacted you or has impacted a client, has impacted a friend, or has impacted your children. But information can also be something as simple as, hey, I found this amazing planner that you've got to know about. Like the Horatio planner is amazing. If you have not connected to Horatio Printing, Polly Payne is the creator and CEO of that company. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to show you on my stories the incredible stuff that she produces. And it is all faith driven. It's awesome. Listen, I've tried so many different types of planners that I can get behind a good planner because some of them are just a waste of money and a waste of time. So do you see what I did there? I literally have shared information that can help you, can connect you, and tie you to. That's what influencers do, right? They tie you to other people. So I'm sharing information about an awesome planner that you can go purchase today. And that's informational. It didn't really take a lot of energy or effort for me to tell you. It's literally like what I like and what I use. Now, of course, you can inform people about a lot of things, so you can get really creative about this. Perhaps you're obviously telling things about what you like or something about the services that you offer, but you can also talk about, for me, it's like I could brag on my clients who are coaches or who are, I have all different types of clients that I work with as Christian entrepreneurs, but I can brag about them and can tie you to their products and their services. So informational can be a lot of different ways, but when you're sharing information, be sure to tie back to a story of some kind, to really kind of get them in their feels, right? Like you want to really connect to people. Facts tell, stories tell. Sorry. Okay, educational is the next one. Educate people. So I am a educator by trade. I went to school to be a teacher, taught in the classroom for several years, and that's what I do now. I get to teach women in business how to do business with God through mindset and heart set work. That's what I do. And so I can educate you on, maybe it's a Bible story, or maybe it's a how this product works, or how does your mindset work. So you can educate people. Maybe you sell makeup. You can educate people on why these ingredients are good for you, and maybe why these ingredients are not good for you, and you didn't even know that they were in your makeup. There's all kinds of ways to educate people, but people do want to learn and know better. And when you know better, you do better. So what can you educate your circle of influence and your niche, the women or men who God has called you to serve? What can you educate them on? And I want to encourage you. I think that, back in the day, and even in one of my courses, I do have, okay, what's your avatar? What's her favorite food? Where does she live? What kind of a car does she drive? And yeah, all those things can really help us have a really good image of that person in our mind. But there are some much better questions that we can be asking to really get to the root and the core of somebody and who our avatar is. And I think of questions a little bit more around like what keeps them up at night? What are the things that they desire, but something's holding them back? And what is that thing that is holding them back? What are their dreams? What are their goals? If nothing were to hold them back, what would that be? What inspires them? What are some challenges that they face in their business? A lot of mindset stuff, right? And when you start to get into the feelings and the thoughts and the beliefs of people, that is where you can really connect with people and transform their life, which is why I love doing what I personally get to do. But I can educate you on your brain. And I'm currently in a year-long certification for neuroscience, getting certified to learn how your brain works, and not just let it work, against you, which most of your brains are. It's not your fault. They're just trying to keep you safe and familiar. But that I can educate you on how your brain is wired, how God created it so that it can work for you. All because I signed up for this year-long program to help myself, and then to help my kids, and then of course in turn to help my clients. Okay, so educational. How can you educate? What do you know that other people don't know that you can help them? You can be the connector to this information. And then another one that we so tend to maybe underestimate is entertaining or funny. Like, everyone loves a good laugh. Everyone loves to have lighthearted. And again, I think sometimes, whether it's coaching or network marketing or anything, like, we can get so teaching mode and inspiring mode and information mode that we forget that people are people on the other side, and everybody loves to laugh. Everybody can use a good smile. And so, what are some things that you can post about that would resonate with your ideal client, that's funny, that's entertaining, that's a big struggle that you just deal with on a regular basis? Don't underestimate the funny post and the memes and whatnot. And it's good to keep it lighthearted and switch it up now and then. All right. I love the lifestyle post too. Again, sometimes I think they feel like we need to inspire people and teach people all the time, where it's like, listen, you're a human being. And that mom on the other side of the screen isn't going to connect with your perfectionism. Okay? So she's not going to connect to that. She's going to connect to the areas that you fall short, because she is also falling short and feels less than. She feels inadequate. She feels all the things that really you probably have felt or are feeling maybe at times. And so your lifestyle, I was helping a client the other day come up with some content, and I was looking through her social media. I'm like, hey, like, why don't you post a picture about going on a date with your husband? Like, her marriage is such a huge part of who she is, and they're the cutest couple ever. I'm like, people like that stuff, and it's just your lifestyle. It's nothing rocket science. But one of the things that she was struggling with was like really coming up with really good content. And I'm like, sweet sister, like, you don't have to be inspiring, informing, and educating people all of the time. People don't connect to your perfectionisms. And I do know that there are a lot of teachers out there that say, be the expert in your field. And while I do agree that you want to have confidence, Godfidence in who you are and who He's called you to be, I think, for me at least, I want people who are also real and relatable. If I am looking at somebody's social media and they buy white t-shirts for their kids, I can't relate. I literally, I don't get it. I don't know. And maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I buy white t-shirts for my kids. Okay, so my kids do have some white shirts, some white clothes, but not many, because the first time they wear them, they spill something on it and it's stained forever. And yes, I have good stain remover, but I swear, I'm like, I just don't understand who does that. And there are some moms on Instagram who I have to unfollow them because their family pictures and their house is all white, and I'm going off on a ramp. Like, you hear me. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not the way that we live over here. So I would like to see your white t-shirt your kids in white t-shirts with stains on it, okay? Because I don't relate to the other stuff. But not to say that I'm not inspired by that other stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had her couch with no stains and her, listen, we're in the process of buying a house, and I am all over Pinterest like nobody's biz. And I don't watch much TV, but if I do, it's HGTV. So I'm about to get back on that, make some time. Anyways, lifestyle. What is it? Do you love? I mean, there were seasons that everybody knew I love Chipotle. I mean, I was getting people sending me messages when Chipotle would have a sale or, do something. And I was getting people to send me their free Chipotle things that they had earned from playing games. Like, what are you known for? What's fun about you? What's true about your life, regardless of whether it was on social media or not? Share those things, okay? All right, the next one is your opinion. And I think that not only your opinion, but other people's opinion. People love to talk about themselves. People love it. So there are so many engaging questions that you can ask people simply from like, hey, drop a GIF showing me how you feel today. What's one word to describe your feelings about your life this week, or your business this week? What's one accomplishment that you're the most proud of when it comes to your job? I mean, there are so many questions you can ask people, and this starts storytelling. And this, my friends, is where you start to get into the heart of your ideal client. When you get good at asking questions like, what inspires you to, I don't know if you're in the health and fitness, right, to lose weight? then you're going to say, wow, I mean, someone, if I could answer that, like what inspires me to lose weight? Well, to feel good in my clothes and to know that I'm feeding my body good nutrition. I'm teaching my children how to actually eat right. And I want to look good naked. I'm married and I love my husband and I do. I want to look good naked. And so what inspires you to, like, you're going to get to the heart of that instead of I want to be healthy, right? But what inspires you to do that? I see someone else who's a mom of 3 and she still looks amazing. And I'm also looking at the inside too, right? I'm not saying that your figure is all of it or the number on a scale is, and I battled bulimia in my 20s. So that's a whole other conversation. But all that to say, when you start asking feeling questions and emotional questions and like belief questions and behavioral questions, you're going to start to get into the mind of your ideal client. Then those are the things you should be also posting about. Those are the things that you should be sharing. That right there, my friends, is your copy for your website. That, my friends, is your copy for your sales post. It's getting into the heart and the mind, not just what vehicle she drives. Although I'm a visual person, so I do like to kind of literally picture my avatar when I'm talking to her creating post. But it's getting into the heart and mind of who she is, okay? Or he. I know I say she all the time, but you could totally be called to men too. So opinion questions. Ask opinion questions. Even the whole like, hey, this outfit or that outfit. Now, you don't want to bait and switch people. I know that there was the whole thing going around on social, but really, like if you had a date night and you had 2 outfits and you wanted to ask, well, people love that. People love to give you their opinion. And listen, let me just warn you right now, when you ask for people's opinions, don't be offended when they give you their answer. And it might not be what you think or what you like or whatever. Relatable post, like relatable, that kind of goes with lifestyle, but I also think like specifically thinking about, if your niche is a mother, then there are some things that you could share about that are very relatable to mothers. Maybe it's that whole living off caffeine and coffee, what feels like eternity when you have a newborn. I don't know, maybe that's relatable in the season. And some of these things will overlap a bit. Like some of the things that are very relatable to a mother will be also very funny and entertaining too. So some of these things will overlap, but I'm trying to give you some ideas of really thinking outside the box. And then I also love, and I use this a lot in network marketing, but I still feel like it lends well in really any business, but these curiosity posts where you're like telling something, but you're not telling something. So I always use this as, hey, I'm telling you that I have something that could really help you, but I'm not literally coming out and saying, hey, buy this makeup brush that's this number from MAC, like I'm more or less like saying, oh man, this thing literally has changed my life. It is the best contour brush in the world. And I'm just making this up. I don't have a favorite contour brush from MAC, by the way. I think my favorite ones are from mascara. But anyways, and that, what that will do, a curiosity post will create questions, which will then generate conversations. So if I were to post that, man, this makeup brush literally has changed my life. My makeup game is so strong. And, maybe going from like a morning picture with no makeup to a full done face, right? You know how many messages would be in my inbox that day asking me, oh, what brush is it? Or the comment below, oh my gosh, tell me what brush that is, right? So curiosity posts where you're like telling an answer and giving a solution for a problem, but you're not flat out saying, hey, this product from here or this whatever from here. So and the whole idea of that is to generate conversations, because listen, conversations is where you're going to find the meat of how to help the person who you were called to serve. In order to be really good at sales, you got to get really good at asking good questions and listening for the answer, and then taking that answer, answering that in your content through either the inspirational, informational, educational, entertaining, curiosity, lifestyle, opinion, or relatable post. And then you've got amazing content. All right? So that is what I have for you today around content. And I hope that was beneficial to you. I hope that's getting your wheels turning. I'll tell you what, just teaching this again, it's from one of my network marketing courses, but just teaching this alone is really helping me, because listen, we all have brain farts every now and then. We all have these. Again, the enemy doesn't want you to share the message that God has put on your heart, whether that's more of a spiritual thing or just growing your business in a way and helping people and serving people. He wants to paralyze you. He wants you to be silent. And so this is an awesome way for you to share your heart and just to continue to give you ideas of content. So I encourage you, sit down and come up with, 10 posts for each one of these things: inspirational, informational, educational, entertaining, funny, curiosity, lifestyle, opinion, and relatable. And you will have several weeks, if not months worth of content ready to serve the people who God has called you to serve. Father God, thank you for social media. Thank you for giving us platforms where we can connect with people, we can be relatable, and we can share our stories. Father, help us to have hearts that want to share our stories, not for our glory, but all for you. God, you have given us everything that we need, everything that we have. And God, my heart's desire, and I pray every woman listening to this heart's desire, is not to point people to them, to show them how amazing they are and what products they have or what service they have, but Lord, to point them to you, as you are the creator of all things, and you are the one who truly can transform us from the inside out and give us a joy like no other. God, we thank you for social media. We thank you for this podcast platform, and we love you. We thank you. We praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.